It's God's will that all men come to the knowledge of that truth, and it's living knowledge. Our God is like the Father who brought in the prodigal son. The son finally, he wakes up. He lost his life in loose living, the scripture says. But if you look at the Greek, loose living, it says, what it really says, the English doesn't capture it. What it really says, he lost his OUSIA. His OUSIA. And the word OUSIA means the essence. He lost his sense of what it meant to be a man. That man is created for higher things. That man is created to be and live with God. God, he in God and God in him. He lost that sense. And so he was completely engulfed by his carnal nature, and he couldn't distinguish between himself and the pigs. Now, he knew he was smarter than the pigs, he knew he was more clever than the pigs, but he thought of himself as kind of a sophisticated pig. That's what it meant when it says in the scripture there, in the parable, that he ate the food of the pigs. He ate the food of the swine. He was no higher than the swine. I remember when I was a kid, a book came out, The Naked Ape. It was a big book. The guy's name was Desmond Morris. I said, what is this? I was just a kid. So it's really kind of shocking. Naked ape, man, it's just a naked ape. And this how these ideas entered into the culture and it ruined the generation. But the suffering of that ruin also brought us back to Christ, like the prodigal son. And what happens? What happens? The prodigal son, he comes to his senses. Now that's a correct rendering in English of what the Greek says. He came to his senses, which means he came to the realization that he's not a pig, and he was not created to live with the pigs. He was created for something higher. Something higher. It only happened after his suffering, though. When his face was just in the dirt, that he finally looked heavenward. Somehow he saw God. Somehow he saw God. Wow. Because our God is a good God. Because our God desires that all men come to the knowledge of the truth. That all men were saved. How do we know this, Father? Because he sent his Son. That's why. That's why. He's done everything he could possibly do. He's done everything he could possibly do to make salvation possible for man.